Yo sup, this is NY3. Today we're finally getting around to messing with the link rules. Very common question I've been asked is how the link rules affect Yang Zings, and the answer is not a hell lot. Yang Zings has always been making most of its plays never exceeding one synchro on the field at a time anyways. The only time you need to have 2 or more synchros on the field at the same time is pretty much when you're going for game, so the new link rules are a minor convenience for those game shots. These rules have caused the Yang Zing Zephyr playstyle to take a step back, however, especially for the mid to late game, where before, keeping your scales up was actually a big deal. If your opponent didn't clear your scales, you were going to pendulum summon 5, probably tribute all of them off into a Zephyr and then pendulum summon everything that you just tributed off again for that clean OTK. We can't do that anymore since the rule changes mean that the Zephyr is going to be occupying that extra monster zone, and our second pendulum summon is going to be coming from our hand, which is ridiculous. No one's going to have that much resources in their hand at that stage of the game. So it's quite unfortunate that strong mid to late game aspect of all pendulum decks in general is gone. You spend all of your early game building up that face up extra deck full of pendulum monsters so that you can do this mid to late game. But yeah, quite sad to see that go. Anyways, before we get onto the combos, I would like to introduce 2 new engines. The first, is a reintroduction of the Sky Iris engine, in addition to being able to search low and high scales, as well as good cards such as Odd Eyes Fusion, although much less so right now, since summoning that Vortex Dragon into your extra monster zone does clog up that extra monster zone. But this Sky Iris engine recently got a new addition, that is the Performer Power Odd Eye Synchron. Unfortunately, most of the combos associated with it doesn't work with it anymore. Combos such as using its, normal summoning it, using its effect to synchro summon with your scale, and then pendulum summoning it back out, using its effect again to synchro summon with a scale, and then you could even levy it back because it banishes itself and then synchro summon with another scale. You can't do any of these anymore since we only have 1 extra monster zone. But it is a very good additional search target for Sky Iris, just being able to search a level 2 tuner whenever you want. You could Ancient Fairy into Sky Iris, you could set rotation or terraforming into Sky Iris. So just by running 1 copy of the Synchron, it's like as if you're running, more than 10 copies of it in your deck because of its searchability. Can be very handy. Cards like Sky Iris, Metaphors, these self-popping effects are also the key for a non-link deck to survive under the link rules. Now of course, good generic link monsters are going to come out in the future, but as for right now, there are, the link monsters we're playing with right now are not very good yet. So for combo decks to be able to do their combos right now, the best way is for self-popping effects to pop whatever's in your extra monster zone, allowing you to free up space and summon more extra deck monsters. So Sky Iris and Metaphors are great ways to do this, and of course, cards such as Baxia, being able to clear itself out of the extra monster zone whenever it wants with its own effect is very key. Cards like Yazi is also very key, although this is more for going second instead of first, since we need our opponents to have something on their field for us to resolve Yazi's pop effect, which is the easiest way to trigger its float effect. The second engine I want to introduce is the Cyverse engine. So that's Draconet and Galaxy Serpent. Draconet's effect allows us to summon a level 2 or lower normal monster from the hand or deck. If we summon Galaxy Serpent, it essentially makes Draconet a 1-card Dinglong. Now of course, the premium Dinglong engine is still going to be Oviraptor, since Oviraptor has more uses than only making Dinglong. Miscellaneousaurus is a good card. It protects all dinosaurs as a hand trap. And of course it's a normal summon independent level 1 tuner. Both Draconet and Oviraptor are going to be taking up your normal summons. The other thing is Oviraptor can search excellent cards such as Ultimate Conductor Tyranno or Dogoran the Mad Flame Kaiju. And of course Oviraptor also triggers our special summons, so in the mid to late game, when Baxia reborns the Oviraptor, we can get a search of that as well. So the dinosaur engine is still the premium Dinglong engine. The DracoNet engine mainly is there to provide additional copies of 1-card Dinglongs. DracoNet being able to summon from the hand and not only the deck, unlike Miscellaneousaurus, mean if you draw the Galaxy Serpent, it's not too bad. We don't have a Brilliant Garnet effect or a Oviraptor Aeolo effect where you have 2 dead cards. You can still make that Dinglong, it's just going to cost you 2 cards out of your hand. However, the Galaxy Serpent being level 2, a level 2 tuner, does mean it's not going to be able to mesh well with cards like the Zodiac engine, since we want to be making Dinglongs instead of level 6 Synchros, which doesn't do a whole lot, but it does mesh well with the Zephyrs, since it can make Baxia with Zephyr New, unlike the Aeolo, although making a Yazi outside of the turn 1 scenario is very good. Other things to note, DracoNet Galaxy Serpents are light and darks. This might open up some chaos builds. DracoNet is also a Cyverse, which lets us make things like Honeybot and other Cyverse exclusive Link monsters coming out in the future. Anyways, let's just get into the first combo. So, exploring what a Dinglong can do again. It can do exactly the same things as before, since this only uses 1 extra monster zone. So if we open something like Odd-Eye Synchron plus a level 3 Pendulum monster, we can set that, normal Synchron, and Synchro for Dinglong. Dinglong searches pillars, Dinglong drops itself down to level 1, setting pillars past turn. You know, this part of the deck is still exactly the same, and it's going to be the main play of the Yang Zing deck, which is why I say the Link rules hasn't affected Yang Zings that much. Of course, on our opponent's turn, when we negate and pop off the Dinglong, we can either float into a quick Synchro into a Dinglong on our opponent's turn, or a quick Synchro into a Battle Immune Herald on our opponent's turn, all very standard. If we open Dinglong plus either a Pillars or a Creation, you know, Dinglong's going to search the other one that we don't have. Or if we open Dinglong plus any Revival Trap, such as Oasis, Call of the Haunted, or from Code of the Duelist, Return to the Front Lines, which is actually better than both since it can't be MST'd or Cosmic Cycloned. This play is as strong as always. Summon DracoNet, summon Galaxy Serpent from the deck, Synchro for Dinglong. Dinglong searches pillars, Dinglong drops itself down to level 1. It's optional, but free Chi-Win in the graveyard is free Chi-Win in the graveyard. Set both and pass turn. On our opponent's turn, we can negate something. Bringing back the Chi-Win is optional, but you know, it's recommended since it plays around Ash if you put Chi-Win on Chainlink 2 and Dinglong on Chainlink 1. Although they probably shouldn't have Ash, they have to have drawn it as the 6th card, which is pretty rare, since if it was within their first 5 cards, they would have used it on your Dinglong combos already. But anyways, Dinglong floats into Bian. Oasis back the Dinglong. We get a search from this into something such as a Yang Zing Path. And then the Bian is going to allow us to quick Synchro into Baxia on our opponent's turn. Dinglong is going to float again, while Baxia is going to spin. So we get a search, a negate, and 2 spins of that. If we didn't need to spin 2, and we only needed to spin 1, Baxia can always spin itself back, freeing up the extra monster zone, allowing the new Bian to quick Synchro into a Herald of the Arclight. So we get 1 spin, 2 negates, and a search. Of course, keeping the Baxia up, due to its self-popping effect, is not going to clog up your extra monster zone on your following turn anyways, so it's totally fine to keep the Baxia up and not spin itself. In which case, you would probably get the Suwani instead of the Bian. If you don't want the Chi-Win to die and get banished, you could always leave it in the graveyard, but this is perfectly fine as a setup for your next turn, since Baxia can pop itself, reviving BN, Chiwen would revive itself, giving you that Ding Long, search into Baxia, spin 2, float 1, play on the next turn. Now as for Jiao 2 is still where it's always have been. If it resolves, it's game. So resolving a Jiao 2 discard 2 is still as powerful as ever. We just tend to not take these risks anymore due to the existence of Ash, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about it. So just a simple Jiao 2 discarding any 2 Yang Zing cards can lead to some quite devastating fields. So this summons Chiwen and Suani, synchro summon into Ding Long, searching pillars, setting pillars. Ding Long drops itself down to level 1 and passing turn. Now this is a very solid setup. On your opponent's turn, we can negate something with pillars. Chiwen summons itself, while Jiao 2 summons Suani. We probably want to avoid the 4th spot, or the 2nd and 4th spot, if we didn't summon an extra deck monster, since the only relevant link monster right now is the Deco Talker, and you don't want to summon something right in front of it since it's going to give it 500 attack boost for no reason. So as for optimal zone placement right now, that's the only thing we need to be concerned about until more link monsters come out. But anyways, our level 4 Suani and our level 1 Ding Long can synchro summon into a new Ding Long on our opponent's turn. Ding Long is gonna float, Ding Long is gonna search, something like Yang Zing Path, and Ding Long is gonna float into something like BN. Next up, the BN can synchro with the Ding Long, the new Ding Long, which is level 5, into a Baxia for 2 on our opponent's turn. The new Ding Long can float as well, again into either Suani or BN. Exactly the same scenario as we talked about before. If we spin back our own Baxia, then we go for BN, so that we can make a Herald of the Arclight on our opponent's turn. If we decide to keep the Baxia, it doesn't really matter this time if we have the Suani or BN in this case, since we already have a Suani or a BN in the graveyard. Anyways, even if the Chiwen dies, we have a second Chiwen in the graveyard ready to go. So that simple resolution of a Jiao 2 resulted in more or less the same field as Ding Long plus Revival Trap, which is quite powerful. Now the final thing I wanted to show for this video would be the Zefrath low scale Ding Long combo. Now unfortunately, Zefrath Ding Long is no longer a very good hand, since Ding Long is going to be clogging up the extra monster zone, preventing whatever Zefrath puts into the extra deck to being pendulum summoned, unless of course we have a way to pop it such as Sky Iris or a Meadowfoe. But Zefrath Draconet in the low scale is still going to transition pretty well into a 3 negate combo. So Zefrath puts Zephyrenew into the extra deck, set the low scale, pendulum summon Zephyrenew. That searches us 9 pillars. Next, we're going to summon Draconet. Now, it's important that the 1-card Ding Long we have here is Draconet instead of Oviraptor, since this is part of what I was saying before, how Draconet works better with the Zephyr engine than Oviraptor. Draconet summons Galaxy Serpent. This lets us synchro into Baxia. Baxia can pop itself to summon back the Galaxy Serpent, freeing up the extra monster zone, allowing us to synchro summon into Ding Long. In searching the second 9 pillars, we can set both at pass turn. Of course, if we were playing Yang Zings in this build, we can dump the Chiwen, etc. Things like that. But if this was just a pure Zephyr build without running any Yang Zings, we still can pillars, pop the Ding Long. Ding Long floats into Zephyrenew, pillars negate again, popping the Zephyrenew, Zephyrenew searching War, and then we can War from our hand on our opponent's turn if the low scale is the Zephyr, or we can search the Zephyr Providence to progress our game state on the following turn. Having things in the hand to pendulum summon Zephyr Providence isn't only there to replace scales if your scales get blown up anymore. Zephyr Providence also provides things to pendulum summon from the hand, since we can only pendulum summon one thing from the extra deck now. So if we want to pendulum summon more than one monster, it would have to come from the hand. But yeah, this opening play was only possible with Draconet summoning a level 2 tuner, and would have not been possible if we had the DD engine, the Dinosaur engine, or even the Teratop engine as our source of 1-card Dinglong. But that's the first video showing off some of the stuff that we can still do under the link rules without even link summoning. Join me in the next video where I show some combos that involve this guy here, Link Spider. Now, Link Spider is an excellent link monster. It has amazing synergy with Baxia in this deck specifically, essentially letting us have one more extra monster zone than we should have for very little investment of just one normal monster or one token, since tokens are treated as normal monsters. But yeah, that's the next video to see what crazy things we can do with Link Spider in a Yang Zing deck. Yeah, thank you for watching. Singles from the Link starter deck are available on ygosingles.com, as well as Code of the Duelist pre-orders. So if you're looking to buy any singles from these sets, make sure to consider buying from ygosingles.com, and don't forget to use the discount code NY333YGO.